Ooh, good morning. Okay, I'm more of a vocal person on these kind of things, so good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, you scared me for a second. I'm Bill Pink. I am president here at Grand Rapids Community College, and I want to say welcome this morning. It's good to have everyone here. It's good to see our friends and partners from all over West Michigan, from the chamber to our small business community to so many of our healthcare folks, and it's been important for today, our early childhood community. For this occasion and for us here at GRCC, it's natural, as I told the governor earlier, it's natural for this institution to be the one for her to come to talk about early childhood, because this Phyllis Fratzke early learning lab that you are in right now, this facility being one of, in my opinion, the state-of-the-art facilities, not only here in West Michigan, not only here in Michigan, but in the country. And I would challenge you to find a better facility that is more serving to students. And when I say students, I mean our little ones, and I mean ours who are learning the art of how to truly care for our little ones. The preparation that happens here with Becky Brinks and her staff and the staff here is second to none. And our institution is proud of that. Our community is proud of that. And we're proud of this facility. And so it's the natural place for our governor to come to talk about early care and early childhood education. And so we welcome all of you. We definitely welcome our governor here, welcome our former Lieutenant Governor, Brian Calley, and all of you who are here this morning to talk about something that goes beyond any type of political party, goes beyond anything that you would say of division, because it's talking about our kids. And when we talk about our kids, that transcends anything. It should, and it always should. So at this time, I want to also brag up our partnership with the Early Learning Neighborhood Collaborative. Dr. Nkechi Ezer, who is not here this morning, she's a GRCC grad. She's a Raider. She's the founder and CEO of the organization. We always brag up about Dr. Ezer. But this morning, she is in good company and good substitution with our Associate Director of ELNC, Cassandra Earle. Please, Cassandra.
Thank you. Good morning. I am representing our CEO and founder, Dr. Nkechi Ezer. With ELNC, we are committed to changing the current reality of underserved children and their families by implementing an intentional early childhood education service system with partners like New Hope Church, Seacom Resource Center, the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan, Steepletown Neighborhood Services, and the Other Way Ministries. The work of expanding and sustaining the capacity of high-quality early care and education programs also transforms the lives of the youngest children that we serve through our service providers, like the Refugee Education Center, the Y, and this location, the Phyllis Fratzke Early Childhood Learning Laboratory. We are pleased to be joined by our governor this morning, who cares as deeply as we do about young children and their families. Please welcome Governor Whitmer.
All right. Thank you, Cassandra. Well, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, Dr. Pink, and thank you all for being here. I'm really, really happy to be here, and having had a very short, quick tour, this really is a phenomenal place where lives are being changed every single day, where paths are being created, not just for the children who attend here, but for the students who are learning how to be great educators of the future. So I'm really pleased to be here and joined by, of course, Sean Welsh from PNC and Praveen Thadani, president of Priority Health. Praveen and I have gotten to know one another on Zoom, but this is our first time seeing each other in person, so it's really nice. We've been through an exceptionally difficult year, and few have felt the strain of this last year more than Michigan's working families, who've had to juggle work and childcare in the midst of unprecedented circumstances. Working families have long relied on childcare to support their child's early development and to make their lives work. COVID has been a reminder that childcare is absolutely essential to the health of our economy. And decades of studies and data proves that where and how children spend their time matters. Quality early child experiences create the foundation for children and for families to thrive. Every family in Michigan should have access to a place like this. Every family in Michigan deserves a safe, quality, affordable childcare option that meets their needs, regardless of how old their kids are, where they live, how much money they make, their race, their ethnicity, their immigration status. The problem is there's just not enough childcare that meets the needs of Michigan families. That was true pre-pandemic, and it's certainly true now as we try to recover from the pandemic. As we boost our economic jumpstart, this is a critical component to our success. Data shows that childcare is the biggest single monthly expense for lower income working families with kids. So right now we've got an opportunity in front of us, an opportunity to make an historic long-term investment in childcare. The federal government has sent Michigan over $1.4 billion specifically for childcare in Michigan. This investment is on top of the nearly $250 million we receive every year from the federal government to support childcare in our state. Basically, we have a one-time injection of 6 times the usual amount that we have to work with. And it's really important that we acknowledge and thank all of our federal legislators who supported these efforts. We are so fortunate for their leadership, and now we've got this opportunity. So we have to make childcare more affordable and reduce the number of families who pay over 7% of their income to childcare. So to work toward that goal, there are a number of things that we can and should and must do. Make 150,000 more children eligible for low or no-cost childcare by expanding eligibility to 200% of the federal poverty level and waiving copays. We can extend the innovative pilot programs like TriShare, which I know is a great thing that has happened here on the west side, and offer all student parents enrolled in the Michigan Reconnect or the Futures for Frontliners the access to low or no-cost childcare as they pursue upskilling opportunities. We also need to ensure that every Michigan family has access to care that meets their needs in their community. And to do this, we can invest in existing providers to help keep them open and financially strong, offer grants to expand existing providers and open new sites. I know there's a new one opening here in Grand Rapids, an extension of the work being done here downtown. And as a state, we need to pay providers more through the child care subsidy, and that's why I'm proposing a 20% increase for provider rates. So finally, to increase the percent of children in high-quality care, investing in our early educators, those students that are sitting behind the observation window, offer premium pay and sign-on bonuses to child care professionals, provide more access to tuition-free education and training for people who are looking to grow into this profession. We also need to invest in proven programs, right? We are fortunate that we've got a phenomenal program like the Great Start Readiness program for 4-year-olds here in Michigan. Last week, I proposed expanding GSRP to ensure that the 22,000 kids in Michigan who are currently eligible for the program but not currently enrolled can do just that. GSRP is not only good for our kids, but obviously it helps our working families who need safe, affordable, quality options for their kids. So right now, as we emerge from the pandemic, child care weighs on our economy. The data is clear that most employers in our state have lost staff because of child care challenges. I know that we have in state government. Across the state government, we have talented, passionate working parents who are stepping back from jobs at every level because the child care options in their communities just don't meet their needs. And it's clearer than ever that our economic recovery depends on expanding quality, affordable child care. Because if parents know that their kids are cared for, they don't have to worry about that. They can be more engaged and more effective in their workplaces. So we have to tackle both sides of the equation. We need to incentivize parents to jump back into the workforce as our recovery continues to pick up. We have to give them the support so that they can do it with peace of mind and quality support for their kids. So in addition to child care and early learning investments, we're announcing a back-to-work incentive to help small businesses boost hiring and continue our economic jumpstart. Under Michigan's back-to-work incentive, eligible laid-off employees can earn a $300 per week bonus for returning to the workforce through September 4th. We're utilizing the $300 per week federal unemployment benefit to incentivize people to jump back into the workplace, to maximize income for working families, to help our incredible small businesses staff up, and to deliver for communities. The program also allows employers to bring back or keep employees working on slightly reduced hours while they receive partial benefits so that they can make up a portion of those their lost wages. Right now, the incentive is available to workers who were brought back by an employer participating in the program. So if you return to the job that you had to leave, you can qualify. What we're also hoping is that the legislature will join us and expand WorkShare so that this opportunity to jump back in will apply to someone going into a new job. The legislature approved this expansion back in the fall of 2020, but expired in March of this year, and that's why changing the statute will help us invigorate our economy and get people back to work without having to make false choices. Expanding this program is a no-brainer. It's 100% federally funded through September 4th of this year. There will be zero impact to an employer's unemployment tax rate or the state unemployment trust fund. Businesses are going to be able to hire both new and returning employees to serve their customers if we can get this done with the legislature. And working people will be able to earn bigger paychecks to pay for childcare, to put food on the table, to pay their bills, and to emerge from this pandemic in a stronger, more stable way. So our back to work incentive is really a win-win-win. We don't get that very often. So we need to live up to and realize this potential in this moment. I'm confident we can make this a bipartisan priority because taking care of our kids, getting people back into the workforce, supporting our small businesses, it shouldn't be something that is hard for us to find common ground on. Looking ahead, I feel very hopeful, and I think we can all feel good reason for hope. Our cases and hospitalizations for COVID are down to levels not seen since March of 2020. Over 60% of our adults in Michigan, actually 16-year-olds and up, have been vaccinated. And thanks to this rollout and to all the Michiganders who've gotten their shot, we're looking forward at the next rollback in the coming days. And it's scheduled for July 1st, but I think you should stay tuned. I know you're going to ask me that question, Eric, so I already answered it. Additionally, MIOSHA is looking forward to amending its rules to comply with the Biden administration's new OSHA guidelines for workplaces here in Michigan, replacing and existing the COVID emergency rules that are set to expire in October. So there's a coming announcement on that front as well. This move will give workplaces flexibility as they reopen and work to keep their customers and their employees safe from COVID. So I am glad that we were able to take some time to talk about childcare and small businesses in Michigan as we continue this economic jumpstart. By effectively utilizing the billions of federal dollars that are available to our state and the $3.5 billion surplus that we have, people can go back to work knowing that their kids are going to be thriving. They can go back to work knowing they're going to be able to make enough to take care of their families. Small businesses can hire and staff up, and we can deliver meaningful change that really improves the quality of people's lives in our state. So I thank you all for being here, for your leadership in the variety of hats which you all wear. And with that, I'll hand it over to my friend, Brian Calley, our former Lieutenant Governor and current president of SBAM. Come on up, Brian.
All right, thank you, Governor. Careful calling me your friend. You'll earn yourself a primary next year. I thank you for the focus and the attention on childhood, on child care and early childhood education. This is such a critical workforce issue, and as we see more engagement in the economy and people going from either from out of work back to work or from remote work back into the office, this has clearly risen to the top of challenges that employers and employees alike face. And there's really been two different issues. There's options and then access. And so that the lack of options has to do with the fact that it's hard to cash flow a child care business with the reimbursement rates. And yet if you increase the rates that families have to pay, then you make it less affordable. These two things pull exactly against each other. And the plan that's on the table today addresses both of those things. First, by providing a 20% increase to the rate that child care providers receive, it will allow current providers to stay in business, to expand, and new players to enter into the market. And then when it comes to the eligibility or affordability access for families, by increasing the subsidy level from 100% of poverty to 200% of poverty, it puts child care, high quality child care, within the reach of so many thousands more families than have access at it today. And so the resources being deployed in this way makes a lot of sense for our families, for our small businesses, for our economy, for our community. And so I'm pleased to stand here next to the governor and support this effort. I do get asked all the time, though, what's the best thing that we can do to support small business? And I just want to close with this: shop local and get your vaccine. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sean Walsh. I'm the regional president for the west side of the state for PNC, and I am thrilled to be here today with the governor. We've had a long history at PNC in investing in early childhood. We've committed over $500 million to make a difference in every kid's life. And the governor made a comment, and I think it was so right on. Every child effectively is born at the same point. And for us to get every child to their potential is probably one of the greatest economic investments that we can make in this state right now. So as a former board chair and the current chair of the Early Childhood Working Group at Talent 2025, this is a spot and this is space that we've been looking at for years. For those who don't know, Talent 2025 is a collaboration of over 100 CEOs here in West Michigan, and we get together and we listen to what's causing our talent issues. And child care provided, or the lack of child care providers, is one of the biggest obstacles that we've seen, as every speaker has said so far up here. So what is happening today, we think, is something that will have a huge impact on our economy. It's something that we've been working on for well over 5 years, and this is a group of CEOs who have been working on this. And it's something that we hope that others will support and the legislators will come alongside. And I want to thank the governor and congratulate her on the initiative. Thank you, Governor. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Governor. As a father of two kids, the topic is very near and dear to my heart as well. The pandemic really highlighted how integral the childcare industry is to our economy. Without a strong childcare system, we really can't thrive as a business community. The Grand Rapids Chamber and Priority Health see the opportunity for businesses to really lean into this discussion and be part of the solution. At Priority Health and Spectrum Health, many of our team members continue to work remotely, but as they transition back to the office, it's really important for them to have access and childcare options. During the height of the COVID pandemic, we launched a new partnership with Care.com to provide financial assistance for childcare for employees, and we plan to continue to offer this support to our teams going forward. But that resource is only effective if there are childcare resources available in the community. It's also important to remember that effective childcare can also provide tremendous value and benefit to the child, to the family, improving health and well-being outcomes. That's why this initiative to make childcare more affordable, to provide support for educators and care providers, and expand access to childcare is so incredibly critical. We're so thankful to the Grand Rapids Chamber for leading the development of a statewide coalition for childcare that brought in the business voice along with key state leaders, legislators, research, and child advocacy groups. From this coalition, the Tri-Share pilot was developed and has received tremendous bipartisan support and national attention. This program has and will put Michigan on the map for childcare innovation. Our reputation for innovation, coupled with a $1.4 billion investment in childcare, truly has the opportunity to highlight Michigan as a leader on this critical issue. Thank you to the Grand Rapids Chamber, the governor, the legislature for recognizing the importance and working together to address this issue. With that, I think I'm turning it over to Samantha.
Hey everyone, yeah, we have just a few minutes now for questions for the governor, any of our other fantastic speakers on childcare back to work.
And Representative Hood, thank you for being here and for your leadership. And I know U.S. Senator Gary Peters is well represented, as is Senator Stabenow. They worked so hard to get us a lot of the federal dollars that we're able to talk about prioritizing today. And so just wanted to make sure to acknowledge that. With that, happy to open it up.
Governor, you've talked about over the past few weeks about opening up the economy, jump-starting the economy. This is part of that process. I'll save Eric the problem, the question. We're 14 days from the time when presumably all of the COVID restrictions will be removed. Is there any necessity to continue them now, and will they be going away sooner, as you intimated earlier?
I think it's very possible, Rick. You know, each of these changes requires a lot of preparation and a lot of legal work, and so we are assessing. We had a modeling call, which we have every Tuesday night. We had that last night. Our numbers are good, really good. Of course, we want it to be at 70%, and our vaccines our work is still continuing, and we're trying to meet people where they are. That's not unique to Michigan; it's happening all across the country. But all these factors go into that, and I would anticipate whether it's MIOSHA or it is the next step in returning to normal, we'll probably have something to talk about in the coming days and make some announcements soon.
Since I'm so predictable. This issue with childcare and coming out of the pandemic is a very immediate need, but training, educating, licensing all these childcare providers is a long-term answer. How does that answer solve this problem?
Well, we've got to tackle this problem on a lot of different fronts. So yesterday I was with a bipartisan group of legislators talking about some of the regulatory changes that will contribute to an environment that is more conducive to encouraging greater opportunities for people for child care. That's a piece of it. Resources is an important piece of it. All of these things have to work together, and that's why it's important that we move forward quickly on all those fronts. And that's why I think it's important that we acknowledge there's a lot we can do, but we got to work together in order to realize the potential here. And the legislature has an important role here, and I'm glad Representative Hood's with us. I am glad so many bipartisan legislators have embraced and are focusing on this issue. And that's why I think the business community and families' voices are really important so that we can get this done on all these fronts.
Governor, yesterday it looks like the legislature, they came to an agreement on allocating around $6.5 billion in funds of the federal money. Would these incentives would you have to go back and add these to them, or would these be separate? And then have you had any conversations? I know you said the back to work incentive in particular is a bipartisan win-win-win. But have you had any of those conversations with leadership or the appropriations chairs about that?
Yeah, there have been a lot of conversations, actually. And yesterday's action by the legislature was, of course, in conjunction with my office, and it's an agreement about how we're going to move forward together. And so I think that's really good news for our state, and good news that we're going to start deploying these federal resources that we have, and we have had for months. And so finally getting to a point where we can get those deployed and for the uses for which they were intended, to help people. When I say a win-win-win, I'm thinking about the health and welfare of our kids. That's the first one. The second is for their families, working families who need options. The third is for small businesses who need employees in their workforce to come back to work. That's the win-win-win here, and that transcends the usual political lines. What happened yesterday was an agreement that we have with the legislature. We negotiated those terms. It is largely for K-12, and that's why there is still more work to do in this particular space. We're looking holistically at children from birth through, really we need to think from cradle to career. But what the legislature did yesterday is really focused on the K-12 system. We want to focus on GSRP as well for 4-year-olds, and of course early childhood, and that's what this is about today.
Governor, do you expect to have a budget on your desk by July 1st, or are you going to have to push that date back as
Well, this is a unique year and unique circumstances. I think we could say that every year for the last 3 years, though, right, Rick? I still delivered a budget on time. It was a Herculean effort, but we were able to do it. So I think it can be done, and I would love to see it get done, but it's most critical that it gets done right.
Kind of jumping on that, these supplemental COVID relief dollars, are those also targeted to be done by July 1st? I mean, is that part of the overall budget plan?
So the budget is anticipated, of course, by statute to be done by the end of this month. The relief dollars, thanks to the Biden administration, the American Rescue Plan, as well as possibly future infrastructure, those would be more through supplementals throughout. I mean, it will be an ongoing process. But I would love to get as much deployed as quickly as possible because, of course, we don't have time to waste. Other states are moving quickly. We want to, we need to. I think we're capable of doing the same and doing it right. All right.
Governor, I'm with Talent 2025, and I started this effort on child care 5 years ago, 6 years ago with Kevin Stotts, and proved that looked around the nation at the best providers for child care. What states did it the best? And Michigan was nowhere on the list, but today I've got to congratulate you and your staff and Michelle Richard for recognizing the importance of child care and the critical nature it serves for our talent pool and for our young people.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you're doing. It's been one of the important data points that's helped inform what we're trying to do here and replicate it for the state, so appreciate that very much.
Any further questions from media?
Wonderful. We wore you all out. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.